a request by three members of parliament that requested to have the meeting today rescheduled because of the attendance of the late MP Herman Wheels of Curacao. And so the letter dates as follows. On May 12, 2013, the rescheduling meeting of May 13, 2013, dated May 6, 2013. Honorable Mr. Similaire, by means of this letter, we are hereby requesting that reschedule the meeting of May 13, 2013, due to the funeral attendance of MP Herman Wheels of Curacao. The requesters of said meeting, namely MP Franz Richardson, MP Louis LaVilles, and MP George Ponteflet. Looking forward to your cooperation in this matter. The response by the Greffier of Parliament, dated today, May 13, 2013. Honorable members of Parliament, please find attached a letter IS/628/12-13 from MPs Franz Richardson, George Ponteflet, Louis LaVilles, requesting that the public meeting of Monday, May 13th, 2013 be rescheduled due to the funeral of MP H. Wheels on Curacao. Due to the attendance of the funeral by members of Parliament who requested the meeting, the President of Parliament has decided to reschedule the meeting for Friday, May 17th, 2013 at 10 a.m. Hope to have informed you sufficiently kindly. The Greffier V.D. Bell. The reason of which I read the two motions. The additional meeting of today, there were two agenda points that were on the meeting to deliberate. Agenda point 1, the recent political developments which are taking place in St. Martin, and agenda point 2, establishing that Minister W. Marlin, Minister R. Tuitt, Minister R. Duncan, Minister R. Ponteflet, and Minister S. Jacobs no longer enjoy the majority support from the Parliament of St. Martin. Agenda point 1 of this meeting was requested by the following members, as I stated. Agenda point 2 of this meeting was requested by members of Parliament R. Marlin, P. DeWeaver, J. Leonard, and G. Arundel. We, for the record, in the absence of rules, of parliamentary procedures, the majority of Parliament decides certain decisions that the Parliament deems fit going forward. And so, in the absence of the Greffier, who have refused to be in this meeting today, we have a recorder that has been placed to record this meeting, Mr. Edwin Gums. And so I look at the members of Parliament. Is there any objections in having Mr. Edwin Gums be the recorder of this meeting?
No objections, Mr. Chairman.
Can we have a head count and so that it is established that the majority of Parliament is in favor of this? Please.
Thank you very much. I look to the list. Roy Marlin.
Agreed.
Ruth Douglas.
Agreed.
Jules James. In favor. Johan Leonard.
Agreed, and second the motion a while ago to be sure.
Rosita Arundel.
Agreed.
Sylvia Myers.
For.
Petrus Leroy de Weaver,
In agreement.
Romain LaVille, agreed. We have a consensus on having Mr. Edwin Gums appointed to be the recorder of this meeting. Why we have decided to continue with this meeting, even though members of the Presidium requested a meeting this morning, made up of the President, Vice President, and the next Vice President, is to discuss the procedure going forward where this meeting is concerned. In this meeting, there was no recorder. There was no feed present for us to be able to have this meeting to deliberate. And so the discussion for those that are listening is that there was an added agenda on for this meeting. Requested a spook meeting on Friday. That meeting did not take place because of whatever reasoning, and the members asked or requested that an added agenda point be placed on the agenda for Monday because the meeting did not take place. I would like to read to the public the letter submitted to the Chairman or President on May 9th, 2013. Dear Sir, in follow-up to your letter dated May 8, 2013, which was received at 5:15 p.m. on the same day, delivered by hand and not by email as is usual when correspondence is sent to members of Parliament, please take note of the following. Your requested clarification of our letter of May 7th, 2013. Indeed, our letter signed by eight members is dated May 6, 2013, and entered into the offices of the recorder dated May 7, 2013. This is the letter that we refer to in our request for the meeting dated May 7, 2013. Please take note that this letter of May 6, 2013 does not form the basis for our request for the meeting, but only establishes the fact that 5 ministers no longer enjoy the majority support from the Parliament of St. Martin. Taking the aforementioned into consideration, and the fact that the undersigned parties requested that a meeting be kept on Friday, May 10th, 2013, and no convocation for the meeting was received up until Thursday, May 9th, 2013 in the evening, we hereby request you to have our request dated May 7th, 2013 added as an agenda point to the meeting convened on Monday, May 13, 2013. For good order's sake, we forward both letters again per email.
Nope.
I look at the media box. I am told that the cutting off of the mics, that the President of Parliament requested that the meeting not proceed, and all video taping of this meeting be cancelled. In discussions with the President, that if the 3 members who requested an agenda point and they wish to have that discussion be rescheduled, then we see no need to delay at that point. But 4 members of Parliament requested an added agenda point, and so if members withdraw their support to hold their meeting, I don't think that we should allow the members that requested the agenda point also be held out. So that's why this meeting is now being taken place. And so as Vice President, I will continue this meeting. on the agenda point number 2, establishing that Minister W. Marlin, Minister R. Tuitt, Minister R. Duncan, Minister R. Pantoflet, and Minister S. Jacobs no longer enjoy the majority support from Parliament of St. Martin. I look over to my speakers list and I give the floor to the first speaker on this agenda point, the Honorable Roy Marlin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I think you explained very clearly the issue of democracy and that democracy should prevail. We have the Constitution of Country St. Martin. The Constitution of Country St. Martin states that in the event the majority of Parliament do not have, no longer have confidence in a minister, the minister will resign immediately. What we have seen happening the past couple of days is that several ministers taking a horse and spanning it to the back of the car. Parliament has the authority to appoint and dismiss ministers and no one else. If they feel that elections should be called, elections can only be called when the members of Parliament, when 8 members of Parliament who should form the majority cannot get together to form a majority of 8 members to support a government. Anytime that happens within our constitution, within our democratic system, then it is justified for Parliament to be dissolved. As long as you have a majority of Parliament that decides a government is formed, whether it is the up DP1 and the up DP2, up DP3, 4, 5, 6, and the government falls tomorrow and we decide to put it back together again, that is our constitutional right, and no one is allowed to prohibit that. I therefore, Mr. Chairman, will present a motion on behalf of the factions concerning that on Monday, May 6, 2013, a new governing declaration was signed consisting of a majority of Parliament of the United People's Party, the Democratic Party, and independent member of Parliament, Mr. Romain LAVILLE, that on Monday, May 6, 2013, this government declaration was submitted to the Prime Minister and the Governor of St. Martin. That the signatories to this governing declaration have declared that the Council of Ministers no longer enjoy the majority support of Parliament. That Article 33, Subject 2 of the Constitution of St. Martin states, if a minister no longer enjoys the confidence of the states, he shall immediately surrender his office. That it is evident from the governing declaration signed by a majority of Parliament that the majority of the members of the Council of Ministers no longer enjoy the support from the Parliament. That by letter dated May 6, 2013, addressed to the Chairman of Parliament, signed by a majority of Parliament, the Chairman of Parliament was duly informed that members of the Council of Ministers no longer enjoy majority support of the Parliament of St. Martin. That by letter dated May 7, 2013, addressed to the Chairman of Parliament, 4 members of Parliament requested that an urgent meeting of Parliament be held on May 10, 2013 to address the situation. That the Chairman of Parliament, by letter dated May 9, 2013, from 4 members of Parliament failed to convene the meeting on May 10, 2013. That in a subsequent correspondence addressed to the Chairman of Parliament dated May 9, 2013, the 4 members of Parliament sent another letter to the Chairman of Parliament to include their request for the urgent meeting of Parliament as an agenda point for the public meeting of Parliament for May 13, 2013. That this request was subsequently honored by the Chairman of Parliament, resolves to declare that in accordance with Article 33, Sub 2 of the Constitution, that effective immediately, the Minister William V. Marlin, Minister Roland Tuitt, Minister Romeo Pantoflet, and Minister Sylvia Jacobs no longer enjoys the confidence of the Parliament of St. Martin, and goes over to the order of day, copy conformed.
that Article 33, Subject 2 of the Constitution of St. Martin states, if a minister no longer enjoys the confidence of the states, he shall immediately surrender his office. That it is evident from the governing declaration signed by the majority of Parliament that a majority of the members of the Council of Ministers no longer enjoy the support of Parliament. That by letter dated May 6, 2013, addressed to the Chairman of President, signed by the majority of Parliament, the Chairman of Parliament was duly informed that members of the Council of Ministers no longer enjoy the majority support of Parliament of St. Martin, considering that by the letter dated May 7, 2013, addressed to the Chairman of Parliament, 4 members of Parliament requested that an urgent meeting of Parliament be held on May 10, 2013 to address this situation. Considering that the Chairman of Parliament by letter dated May 9, 2013 from 4 members of Parliament failed to convene the meeting on May 10, 2013. Considering that in the subsequent correspondence addressed to the Chairman of Parliament dated May 9, 2013, the 4 members of Parliament sent another letter to the Chairman of Parliament to include in their request for an urgent meeting of Parliament as an agenda point for the public meeting of Parliament for May 13, 2013. That this request was subsequently honored by the Chairman of Parliament. We resolve to declare that in accordance with Article 33, Subject 2 of the Constitution of St. Martin, that effective immediately the ministers William V. Marlin, Minister Roland Tuitt, Minister ROUMOU Pantoflet, and Minister Sylvia Jacobs no longer enjoys the confidence of Parliament of St. Martin and goes over to the order of the day, copied to the Governor of St. Martin, copied to the Council of Ministers of St. Martin, copied to the Kingdom Council of Ministers, the Chairperson of the Second Chamber in the Netherlands, the Chairperson of Parliament of Aruba, and the Chairperson of Parliament of Curaçao, signed by 8 members. Is there any need for a second round by the members of Parliament where this is concerned?
For me, Mr. Chairman, I move the first second round.
Thank you very much. Any behoefte?
Ja, er staat geen behoefte.
Geen behoefte. Thank you very much. I submit to the people of St. Martin that there has been a unanimous decision. Sorry. Do we have any hoofdelijke stemming at this point? Geen behoefte. And so I declare that the draft motion presented, supported by 8 members of Parliament, for the immediate and effective removal of the ministers in question by a vote of no confidence by Parliament is now passed and into effect. In closing, I would love to have had the opportunity for a procedure of this sensitivity. Most people that are watching do not really know what's going on behind the scenes. And so I think it is extremely unfortunate that we are seeing this morning forms of sabotaging in order for this meeting to take place. At the end of the day, whether we like it or appreciate it, we live in a democracy that we come here every time in meetings and discuss our democratic right as members of Parliament. And so going forward, whether or not there are any more sabotaging that is taking place, at the end of the day, democracy must rule. And so I turn the floor over to the Honorable MP Sylvia Myers. You have the floor this time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to say a hearty good morning to my colleagues in Parliament, members of the press, televiewers and radio listeners. Good morning. Mr. Chairman, I know that my colleague MP Roy Marlin read a motion, and I would just like very briefly to put some emphasis on a few articles within our Constitution. On behalf of the up faction, Mr. Chairman, I would like to make mention, Chapter 3 of the Constitution states, Article 33, Sub 2, if a minister no longer enjoys the confidence of the starter, he shall surrender his office. Mr. Chairman, explanatory notes to Article 33, Sub 2. Article 33, Sub 2 imposes a legal obligation on individual ministers to resign if the majority in the Parliament no longer has confidence in them. Finally, Mr. Chairman, if he or she means the minister fails to do so, then he or she is breaching the constitutional legal system. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Honorable MP Sylvia Myers. I turn the floor over to the next speaker on the list, the Honorable MP Jules James.
Good morning and thank you, Chairman, and certainly to the media present and all those sitting in the public tribune. I would just like to make mention that we are on St. Martin in our young democracy, and obviously what we are experiencing here could be termed as growing pain. And I will not be long, but certainly in the Constitution, Article 44, it make mentions that the Parliament represents the entire population of St. Martin, and in Article 46, it states that the duration of the term or the session of Parliament is for a 4-year period. Unless Parliament cannot get its act together, then you will have a situation where call for new elections could come into play. But because Parliament has a majority, albeit a slender majority of 8 members, there could be no discussion at this juncture of calling new elections. This is pretty much deja vu in the sense of what happened a year ago, almost precisely. It's happening now, and basically the players at this stage has preferred to go and hide in holes like crabs and prefer to try to circumvent the democracy, but democracy should not be circumvented. What you saw is that the up party, understanding the Constitution, accepted and went on the sideline, and now you have other players who refuse to go on the sideline because they believe that they, although they are no
Chairperson of the Second Chamber in the Netherlands, the Chairperson of Parliament of Aruba, the Chairperson of Parliament of Curaçao. And this motion is signed by 8 members of Parliament, myself, Leroy Louiva, Ruth Douglas, Sylvia Myers, Yancy Leonard, Gracita Arundel, and Member of Parliament Romain LaVille, and I hereby Member of Parliament Jules James, and I hereby submit this motion to you, Mr. Chairman, and ask you for it to be duly noted and recorded in the registers of Parliament.
Thank you very much, Honorable MP Roy Marlin. I turn the floor over to the next speaker on the list, the Honorable MP Sylvia Myers. And before I give the floor to Sylvia Myers, I would just like to say that